Greetings, awesomes. How's everyone doing? Thought I'd come out the video, talk a little bit more specifically about the CRAAP test. We've been talking about that. It's mentioned, of course, there's also an explanation talking about it in the Googlepedia article, which we've been talking about a lot this week. So I wanted to kind of go through each one of these: currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose with you as well, to kind of give you some sort of an idea of perhaps how we might think about what do those look like, at least when it comes to if we're looking at, an article. And so I think, it says use the following list to help you evaluate sources, answer the questions as appropriate, and then rank each of the 5 parts from 1 to 10. 1 is unreliable, 10 is excellent. Add up the scores to give you an idea whether you should use the resources and or whether your professor would want you to. Okay. So keep in mind too that this is largely going to be used for our sources that are non-scholarly. If we're looking at, even if we're looking at something that's on a .org or a .edu or a .gov, we still want to see whether or not they meet kind of these criteria, what kind of score, quote unquote, we give them. So starting with currency, the timeliness of the information. So when was the information published or posted, right? This is especially going to be relevant if we're looking at, obviously with popular sources, are we looking at a news article that was posted, going back, even with COVID, as much as information has changed. If we go back and we look at something that was posted about how to best stop the spread of it, go back a year and a half ago, or a year and 3/4 ago, and we think to ourselves, okay, the information we were getting in has changed a lot, right? CDC has had to change their information as we've learned more. Has the information been revised or updated? Is information current or out of date? Some of the information, while it's only 2 years old, it may be not as relevant today because it's a little out of date, or it doesn't have as much currency according to this. Are the links functional? I think that's something that's kind of interesting to know. Is this page being updated? Is it being maintained? That gives you some sort of an idea too about the site, especially if it's an online. So the relevance is the importance of this information is actually talking about it. I think this is something this is probably the more challenging of the CRAAP test to do, to talk about whether or not this is relevant to you or not. And so this is where we probably have to read a little bit closer and think about, okay, who's the intended audience for this? What is the, when it says this information at an appropriate level, is it talking about it in a way that you would expect it to be spoken about? Or is it kind of, I don't want to say it's looking at levels, is it more elementary, right? Middle school, high school, college level, kind of what's the information sounding like to you? Have you checked other sources? Would you be comfortable using this source? That's kind of what kind of source. And even if you think to yourself too, the importance of the information of the intended audience, and does it relate to your topic or not, is really, you have to kind of like make that determination. But another thing you can kind of do too, this is kind of ties in with all these, is that author quoting good source of information, which brings us to authority, right? Who is the author? What are their credentials? Do they have other type of qualifications, right? Because we're talking about someone who's writing something on a more popular, being published in a more popular type of way. Then we are talking about someone who has gone through the rigors of a scholarly article. And then accuracy, does the information, where does the information come from? So now we're talking about that credibility of, are they quoting popular sources, or are they quoting at least more reliable information that says, are their sources credible? That's what we begin to ask ourselves this question here. Accuracy, does it seem like kind of tied in with their purpose? Are they is there some obfuscation taking place, or is it just delivering some information? Does it seem like a well-formed argument? Think about rhetorical analysis, or what's the ethos, pathos, and logos. And so that's where we kind of start to use some of that information between purpose and accuracy to really give us a sense of, okay, is this a source that I feel like I could really use? It hasn't gone through the rigors. Doesn't mean that the information is not bad, but we got to make sure it meets our criteria, because we're going to be using it to make recommendations or make suggestions or whatever it is we're doing in our research papers. So make sure you really look at each one of these and go through these questions. Can you even verify the information? Even if it doesn't quote a source, can you try to find where the source is? You may have to use it like a Wikipedia. But think about those things. All right. That's the CRAAP test. All right. Enjoy. Stay safe. Stay awesome, guys. Bye now.